Hey, what's up? It's Nathan Williams with Crazy Marketing. Now this video right here is a compilation of several videos that help make up the course that you're taking right now. Now to help you navigate through everything, I've provided timestamps down below in the description, so I recommend going, check out those timestamps, watching what's relevant to you. Let's get into it. In this video and basically the rest of the course, we're going to be discussing automation, which is the whole point of using a marketing automation tool is to use it to automate things to make your life easier. So of course, automation is basically how you send correspondence automatically. This includes things like emails, text messages, webhooks, and again, webhooks integrate with a bunch of other tools, so you can send things like direct mail, ringless voicemail, etc. So you can do a bunch of stuff with webhooks, but emails and text messages are the quote-unquote like normal ways to do things. You can also do back-end segmentation with automation. So if somebody clicks a link, you could use automation to like segment those subscribers, or if they're land on a page, or if they buy a product, you can segment people with automations, and that's another great way to use automations. And here are a few keywords that we're going to use moving forward. So we have triggers/start. And this is essentially how an automation starts. So we're going to cover that in this video. We're going to go through all the triggers/starts that ActiveCampaign offers. And then we're going to talk about actions, and these are the various actions within automations. And actions include things like send an email, wait, if else, add remove tags, subscribe, unsubscribe from list, etc. A bunch of different actions, and we're going to cover all this as we go through the course. But let's head over to ActiveCampaign and check out triggers and starts. So here we are in ActiveCampaign, and I want to go to automations, and we want to go to create an automation. And right here we have an automation recipe book basically, and ActiveCampaign has maybe hundreds, a few dozen automations that you could go ahead and browse and choose from, and they're actually pretty smart. I recommend checking some of them out, see what they do, see how ActiveCampaign, like the ActiveCampaign team, thinks about how to use ActiveCampaign. You can learn a lot by browsing these different automations, but in this course, we're going to build everything from scratch, or we're going to duplicate our own automations, because if you know how to build from scratch, then you're going to be able to understand what the heck they're doing inside of their automations, right? But I do recommend checking them out. There's a bunch of really cool things, and they do some smart stuff. But we're going to go with start from scratch and continue. And so the first thing it prompts us with is to add a start trigger, and this is what this video is about essentially. So we can start an automation by having different events. We got like subscribe to a list, unsubscribe from a list, submits a form, opens, reads an email, clicks the link in an email, views a web page. So this goes back to when we installed that tracking code on our website. So this way you could trigger automations based off of pages people view. So pretty cool stuff. Event, again, this goes back to the tracking code. We did not install any events because that's complicated code, and that's beyond the scope of this course. You're going to be able to do everything you need with what I'm showing you here. But yeah, if you understand JavaScript and advanced code, there's events. Shares an email, forwards an email, replies to an email. This comes down to if you have that reply tracking turned on. Now remember, reply tracking will decrease your deliverability rates. So only use that if you really, really, really want to track the reply tracking, and use these triggers to trigger automations. Then we have tag is added, and this is what we're going to use like 95% of the time, is when somebody gets a tag applied to their account, we're going to trigger an automation, which is going to do all sorts of things, send an email, text messages, etc. Tag is removed, so if you remove a tag, you could trigger an automation. Field changes, so this comes down to like name, email, birthday, etc. You can trigger automations based off of that. Goal is achieved, so this is if somebody achieves a goal, and we're going to cover goals in another section of this course, but you could trigger an automation if they achieve a goal. Date based, so here comes down to if you have a custom field that is based upon a date, so maybe a birthday or something like that, you could go ahead and trigger an automation when somebody hits a certain date. So pretty cool stuff right there. RSS based, so if you have an RSS feed that you like actively manage and control, you can go ahead and integrate it with ActiveCampaign. You can also trigger an automation when somebody dismisses a site message. So if you have one of the more advanced plans on ActiveCampaign, you can do site messages, And so if somebody dismisses a site message without reading it, you could trigger an automation. So that could be helpful if you're trying to promote a product or service or launching a product or something like that, and somebody's not reading your message, well, you can send them an email and accuse them of not reading your message. Conversion occurs. This too is available on one of the advanced ActiveCampaign plans, conversions. We're not going to cover that in this course, but if you do have one of the more advanced plans and you track conversions, you could trigger an automation when a conversion happens. Now, with that being said, you can trigger conversions based off of tags. So more than likely, you're going to have like a tag applied to somebody's account when they buy a product or they opt in for something, or maybe they visit a web page, and you're going to be tracking conversions anyway. So this one is not super critical because you can track conversions. You can track if a tag is added or if they view a certain web page, right? So if they view your order success page, well, you know that they ordered something, right? And then you could also likely apply a tag based off of their order, and you could trigger an automation that way. So conversions you probably won't use even if you have it. Makes a purchase and abandoned carts, also advanced features. We're not going to discuss them here. Score changes, enters a pipeline, deal status or deal stage changes, and deal status changes. These are CRM triggers, and they're pretty self-explanatory. So if their score changes, we can trigger an automation. If they enter a certain pipeline, we can trigger an automation. If their status changes within a pipeline, we could trigger an automation. And then if the deal status changes, we can trigger an automation. So pretty self-explanatory right here, and we'll have another section on the CRM solution, so we'll likely cover some of this stuff over there. And then finally, we could choose to start an automation without a trigger. So there is an action inside of ActiveCampaign. So if you create another automation that's triggered when somebody gets a tag, at the end of that automation, you could have it perform an action that sends somebody to an automation, and that automation doesn't need a trigger. Now that is kind of advanced, but we're going to go ahead and click it, and we'll close this because we're going to come to actions in the next video here. But so this is what a typical automation looks like, and right here we have our trigger. So we can click here, and this is where we could add different triggers. So tag is added. Let's do that real quick. Tag demo, just for sake of example, and then we can go and add multiple triggers. So we have multiple triggers, trigger one automation if we want to do something like that. So we could do tag is added demo and tag is added customer at start. So now this automation will be triggered if the individual gets the tag demo, or the customer gets the tag, or the subscriber gets the tag customer. So there's two ways for somebody to enter this automation. And so that right there covers our triggers and starts for the automations. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the training. Real quick, I have a special offer that I want to present to you where you can get a digital copy of my book as well as an audio copy. Plus, I'm giving away 20 pre-written emails that make your email writing a piece of cake. And finally, I have a 7-figure funnel. It's the first funnel that I built that generated over 7 figures for a small business, and it includes training on how to actually set up the funnel. If you're interested in that, plus several other bonuses, link in the description down below, or there'll be a link in the little box up above here. So if you're interested, check it out. Back to the training. In this video, we're going to discuss actions within your automations, but before we do that, let's go ahead and name our automation so this little alert goes away. So up here, we can go ahead and name our automation, and I typically name an automation the same name as the trigger of the automation so I can quickly and easily identify what the heck this automation is about. So I'd call it like tag demo, or something to that effect. Now let me go ahead and delete this one out, and boom, there we go. So in order to add actions to our automation, and again, actions are like the emails, text messages, and other events, we can go ahead and do it two ways. We could click this plus button right here, which is what I'm going to do in just a second. Alternatively, we could come over here to the right-hand side and browse through various actions and basically drag and drop them over onto the plus icon. So whatever your preferred method is, you can use that. I usually just click the plus button because I'm usually building and looking right there at the plus button. So here are all the actions that ActiveCampaign has. The first one is send an email. So if you want to send an email, that's the action you want to go ahead and apply to your automation. The next one is send a site message. And this is for one of the more advanced plans. So the light plan does not have send a site message. So If you have a light plan, you won't see this probably, or it'll be grayed out and they'll want you to pay more money. But basically, this makes it so when somebody visits your website, like a little message will pop up and it can say whatever you want to say. You could also do a text message, so you select that option right there. And then there's also a notification email, and this is very beneficial, like if you or maybe your distributor wants to be notified every time an order takes place or something to that effect. You can set this up, and this action right here will send an email to whatever email address you specify and contain whatever contact information you specify. So it's a great way to get notified when somebody like enters an automation or does something that you want to be notified about. So those are some of the primary sending options. Then we have conditions and workflow. So wait for a certain period of time or until conditions are matched. Now we're going to go through a bunch of these actions as we build out automation. So I'm going really quick right now just to give you a brief overview of what's available, but we're going to cover them in detail later on. So we got wait, if else, so if they do, or if they match this condition, do this. If they match this other condition, do this other thing. Split, so we can run split tests. Go to, so we could skip ahead in our automation. Goal, also, so we could skip ahead if they've already accomplished whatever action. Start an automation, so this is kind of what I hinted at on video 1, was that we could start an automation even if it doesn't have a trigger. So we could go ahead and start whatever automation we want to go ahead and start. We could also end this automation or end another automation. So maybe somebody buys a product, so we want to go ahead and end the automation that's trying to sell that product. So pretty powerful action right there. Webhook, so we talked a little bit about webhooks and how we could use those to send direct mail, ringless voicemail, etc. Do a bunch of stuff with webhooks, so that's a very popular action. And then we have perform math, which is a new action to ActiveCampaign, and it's quite powerful. So you could do like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division on a custom field that you've set up within ActiveCampaign. I typically use it to track points. So points are like a way to track a user's engagement. So that way I know how quality that person is. Like if they're opening a bunch of emails, that they're buying my stuff, they're going to have a lot of points, and then I know like, hey, when this person reaches out, or maybe I reach out to that person because this is a VIP and I want to treat them, especially well because, they've given me a lot of time, money, etc. I want to treat them well. So we'll come to back to this math function later on, but it's very cool, very powerful, and it's new. So we like showing new things. Then we have contacts, so we could go ahead and do actions around this. So we could subscribe them to another list or unsubscribe them from a list. Again, I'm a big fan of only having one list, so you probably won't use either of these different actions, but they do exist. Convert, again, this is on like a more advanced plan, so this is how you could track conversions, but we can track conversions with tags, so I don't really know why this is super important. Then we have updated contacts, so we could update their details based off of what they're doing. We could add a tag, remove a tag, add a note. So 3 very powerful actions right here depending on what they're doing. We could also add to a Facebook custom audience or remove from a Facebook custom audience. Now these are only available on like the Plus and Beyond plan. So if you're on a light plan, you probably won't have access to these. But these are very beneficial because you could add somebody to a custom audience when they're in a sales cycle or a sales series, and then you'll be showing them ads for the same product or service that you're promoting via email, and you can essentially automate the process. So these are very powerful if you have them available to you and you know how to use them. You could also adjust a contact score. So if you have a CRM, you could add points or subtract points. You could also do that again with math. So you don't necessarily need the CRM solution. Math is available on the Lite solution, so that's awesome. But yeah, if you have the CRM solution, you can do points with the CRM solution as well. And then we come down to CRM. So if you are using the CRM solution, there's a bunch of actions as well. So add deals, update title, update status, update an owner, update a value, update stage, custom field, task, note, task, score. So we're going to go through some of these for you CRM folk. I don't want to go into too much detail because I know most people are likely on the Lite plan and not using that CRM. So I'll save these for the CRM module. And that's really it for actions. In order to add it, you just click on it and you could go follow the steps and it'll walk you through how to set up that particular action within your automation. And that's really it for this video. Of course, we're going to set up a bunch of actions as we build out our automations. Several of the follow-on videos are going to be from the old ActiveCampaign browser. Now, it's not going to have any impact on your training. The steps, everything is exactly the same because we're going to be spending a lot of time in automations and those function the very same way. I just want to point out that the dashboard that we're in is going to look a little different. Again, it's not going to impact anything with your training. Just that I've recorded these videos. The strategy is the same exact strategy. Got all the content there, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to reshoot the same exact thing just because there's a blue bar across the top instead of a gray bar down the left-hand side. So this is what the old dashboard for ActiveCampaign used to look like. So we got the blue menu at the top here. So we got contacts, campaigns, automations, deals, lists, forms, reports, etc. And then down below we have like the content for whatever we're in. Like right now we're in automation, so we see the automations and there's some more tags and organizational stuff over here. So the interface has changed a little bit compared to if we go to the current version of ActiveCampaign. You'll notice that the menu, of course, is on the left-hand side now, and it's gray. So instead of a blue bar across the top, we got a gray menu on the side, and then we have the content right here in the middle. But for the next several videos, we're going to be working with automations, and they function the same exact way as the previous version of ActiveCampaign. I just wanted to point out that instead of a blue bar, we got a gray bar. That's it. Now let's get back into the training. In this video, we're going to discuss some basic automation strategy. Now this is important, and I recommend you watch this video several times because you need to understand the concepts I'm about to explain. Otherwise, it can lead to like a big tangled mess. So you definitely want to understand this basic automation strategy before moving onward. So the way I see it, there are two types of automations. There are message automations, and in these automations you're sending correspondence, so your emails, text messages, webhook messages. And then there are also tag automations, and these are the back-end automations that handle things like adding and removing tags. So remember this, there are two types of automations, message automations and tag automations. Now, message automations only have 4 starting triggers. They start when a tag is added, a field changes, a date changes or a date-based trigger, or you have a start automation function that starts the automation. So basically you don't have a start trigger, but some other automation is automatically adding people to that automation. So those are the only 4 ways somebody can enter a message automation. And you only want one start trigger for message automations. Again, one start trigger for message automations. Now why is that? Well, if you have multiple start triggers, subscribers can enter the automation several times, which means they're going to wind up receiving the same emails they've already received. And you don't want that. You don't want to keep sending the same emails. So you only want these message automations to be triggered one time. And the best way to do that is by only having one start trigger. And I'm going to go over an example in just a minute here to show you exactly what I mean. So moving on to the tag automations, which again are the back-end automation. For the triggers, it could be anything. Anything could trigger these tag automations. For example, link clicks, page visits, opens an email, subscribes to a list, or any other reason you want to start this tag automation. And basically these automations add the tags needed to start the message automations. So let me say that one more time. These tag automations add the tags needed to start the message automations which send the messages. Now, as a quick reminder, there are many ways to add tags. You don't need to only add tags through these tag automations. You can add a tag when somebody opts in through a form or through the API, and we saw that when we built our own forms a few sections ago. Tags can be added via shopping cart platforms, so Shopify or WooCommerce or Thrivecart or Samcart could push a tag to ActiveCampaign. You could manually add tags to your subscribers. You could also add tags when people click links inside of emails, and that's a bit more advanced, and we will go over it eventually, but that's another way that you can add a tag. So there are a bunch of different ways to add tags. It's not just through these automations, but there are also tag automations. So let's go to ActiveCampaign, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So here I am in an example message automation, and you see that the starting trigger is when tag interest sales funnels is added. So there's only one starting trigger for this automation. There's not multiple ways that somebody could start this automation. There's only one. And it's only when they receive this tag, interest sales funnels. And then it goes ahead and sends the message. So as soon as this tag gets added to their profile, they receive email 1, it waits a day, then it sends email number 2, it waits a day, then it sends email 3. So this is a basic message automation. Now if I come over here, this is what a tag automation can look like. As you see, there are multiple starting triggers. So this first one, if contact visits page crazymarketing/sales funnel with an asterisk there, then we're going to add the tag interest sales funnels. Or if they visit a page with the URL crazymarketing.com/blog/sales funnel asterisk, then they could also receive the tag interest sales funnels. Or if the individual clicks a link in email 1, then it could add the tag interest sales funnels. And of course, we're going to keep adding new start triggers for any time that we want to apply this tag to our subscriber. And as you know, once this tag gets applied, then it's going to start our message automation and start sending these messages. Now, if we add these 3 start triggers for our message automation, then people could enter this automation 3 different times because there's 3 different ways to enter it. They could visit this type of link, crazymarketing.com/sales funnel, or crazymarketing.com/blog/sales funnel, or if they click a link. So if one day they visit this page, it could trigger this automation, and then the next day they visit this type of page, it could trigger this automation again. And if we were sending messages, it would send duplicate messages because it would start the automation essentially over. Whereas how we have it now, it doesn't matter when they visit it or when they click. There's only one option. They're just going to receive the tag interest sales funnels, and they're not going to get this tag added to their account like 10 different times. Once they have the tag on their account, the tag is there. It doesn't get added again and again and again. So I really hope that this is making some sense because it is a very important concept. Just remember to think of your automations in 2 different ways. You have message automations and tag automations. With message automations, you're sending messages and they only have 4 different start triggers. Typically, you will use the tag is added option, but you might use field changes or date-based or start automation function because you only want the one start trigger for message automations. So that way you don't start sending the same emails again and again and again. So please rewatch this video until it makes sense. Or if you're struggling to understand it, please leave a message in the support forums because it is an important concept to understand. In this video, we're going to go ahead and build out just a basic message automation. And this is essentially what it's going to look like. We're going to have our start trigger right here. And as you hopefully recall, we only start message automations with one of these 4 triggers. So if a tag is added, which is the most common reason we'll start one of these message automations, or if a field changes, or date-based, or we have the start automation function. So we're going to use tag is added. So we have our start trigger up here. Then we're just going to send email 1. We'll wait a day, send email 2, wait a day, send email 3, wait a day, send email 4, wait a day, and so on. So just your general autoresponder. And we're going to go set that up in ActiveCampaign right now. So I'm in ActiveCampaign under automations, going to do new automation, and we're going to start from scratch, create. So how will our contact enter our automation? So our start trigger, in this case we're using tag is added, and I'm going to call this my main series. So this is my main email series that my subscribers are just going to receive. It's going to introduce my business, it's going to show them my products, my services, it's going to entertain them, educate them, and all that good stuff that a general email autoresponder does. And I'm going to hit add start, and I'm going to go ahead and name my automation here. I'll just call it main series so I know what this automation is. Hit save, and I'm just going to click the little plus icon here. I'm going to send email. So you don't have any emails to send, you can create an email to get started. So create an email. I typically call it the name of the automation, so main series, and then the number of the email, so email 1. Main series, email 1, hit create. Now this should look familiar to you because we already created a template, so you know how the email builder works, and we also sent campaign emails. So you know the basic process here. So I'm going to go ahead and select my template. I can go ahead and do my from information, an email subject line, so welcome to my list. Continue. Of course, I can go ahead and customize this information as much as I want to. Welcome to the Crazy Eye Marketing list. you will learn about sales funnels. And I'm like, okay, that looks awesome. I'm really happy with that. So I'll come up here, hit next. And we have the same campaign summary as when we were sending campaigns or broadcast messages. So we can see our message name here, which is main series email 1, our subject line, our address. We can turn on our options. Typically we'll turn on Google Analytics if I'm running Google Analytics on the website. Now, when I'm configuring Google Analytics, I only use the automation name, not this other portion here. So it'd just be main series. So all my Google Analytics configurations for the emails I send in this automation will just have the same campaign name, which is main series. Hit done. Of course, I can send a test. I can do desktop preview. My spam checks here. None of this should be new to you at this point. So I'll hit finish. All right, so my first email is queued up and ready to go. I'll go ahead and hit the little plus icon, conditions and workflow, and I'm going to hit wait. And we can wait for a specified period of time or until specific conditions are met. I'm going to wait a specific amount of time, which is 1 day, but you see you got minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, and you can of course change this value to whatever number you want. Hit save, and now we're going to go ahead and add an email number 2. So I'll click the little plus icon again, sending options, send email, and I have the option to select an email to send. So I have main series email 1, but I'm already sending that, so it wouldn't make sense to send it again. I could also copy and edit. So if you want to keep a lot of the same content that you recently sent, you could copy and edit the email so you're not starting from scratch. Or you can go ahead and create a new email from scratch, which is probably typically what you're going to do. So create a new email. This is main series email 2. Create. Go ahead, select my template, subject line. Go ahead, fill out all my content in here, make it however I want. Hit next in the top right hand corner. You can go through all this information again. I'm going to turn on Google Analytics. I'm going to keep the campaign as main series, which is the same name as the automation itself. Hit done. And we've been over this several times by now, so I'm just going to hit finish. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and wait another day. So I imagine you're understanding this right now because it's pretty simple and straightforward. You wait a day or you send an email. And you can literally see the entire flow of your automation right in front of you. So it's very simple and easy to create these automations. Now, of course, they can get more complex when you start mixing in if-else statements, adding and removing tags, using goals, etc. But we're keeping it real simple, real basic at this point in time. And we're just creating a straight line email autoresponder series. Subject line looks good. And I'm happy with this content, so I'll hit next. And I'll come down here to Google Analytics. Make sure it's the main series campaign name. Done. Hit finish. Alright, so we've created our main series automation, and that was pretty simple, right? And of course you can add to it or drag and drop different portions. So let's say you want to move email 3 up here. You can do that by just dragging and dropping, and then it says move/copy action. So move single action, move this action and all following actions, copy single action, or copy this action and all following actions. I'm just going to select move single action. So there we go. Now it would send email number 1 right away, then it'd wait for a day, then it'd send emails 2 and 3 back to back. Now I don't know why you would want to do that, but I was just demonstrating the drag and drop functionality. You could of course click the little plus icon and add in other actions that you might want. So that's really all there is to it when it comes to creating just a straight message automation. And of course we can get a lot fancier, and we are going to, but we wanted to start as simple as possible to build that good foundation. In this video, we're going to go ahead and create a lead magnet delivery automation. So when somebody opts in through an opt-in form on your website requesting a lead magnet, and this way you can send them the lead magnet right away and then get them into your email autoresponder tool as soon as possible and start marketing to them. So this is what our basic lead magnet delivery automation looks like. It starts when tag is added, LM, : Facebook ads checklist, so the name of my lead magnet. And remember, I'm using my tagging naming convention, so LM for lead magnet. So when this tag gets added to their profile, it's going to trigger this automation. We'll send email 1, which is going to deliver the lead magnet. Then we'll wait a day. Then we'll send email 2, which let's say it tries to sell the product that's related to the lead magnet that they just requested. And then we'd go ahead and wait a day, and then what? We just stop our automation, or what do we do with the person after they've received the lead magnet they've requested and we try to sell them on our product or our service? Well, how about we go ahead and we add them to our main series over here. So that way they can start receiving our general emails and we can start educating them on our products and our services and just build that relationship with them. So to end this lead magnet delivery automation, let's go ahead and add a tag. So let me select one of these flow chart icons here. We'll call this add tag main series. So wait a day, add tag main series, and now when this tag gets added to their profile, it's going to trigger this automation over here, and they'll start rolling down this path. So hopefully that's making some sense. Let's head over to ActiveCampaign and actually make it happen. So in ActiveCampaign, go to the automation section, go to new automation, start from scratch, hit create. When a tag is added, because this is a message automation and they only have that one start, and it's typically going to be when a tag is added. So tag LM Facebook ads checklist add start. I'm going to go ahead and name this automation the same name as my start trigger, so LM Facebook ads checklist. Save. The little plus icon, go ahead, create our emails. So LM Facebook ads checklist email 1, create. Go ahead, select our template. Here's your lead magnet. Continue. Of course, you're going to make your sending details and the content of your emails make sense. I'm just going through it real quick because I'm trying to show you the automations. You should already know how to design and set up your emails at this point in time. So all this looks good. Of course, I'll turn on Google Analytics. I just want to keep the main name of the automation. Hit done, finish. So email 1's done. Now I'll go ahead and wait a day. And then I'll go ahead and send email number 2. Facebook ads checklist email 2, create. Select our template, fill it on out. Looks good. Turn on our Google Analytics, and again, this only applies if you're using Google Analytics. If you're not using Google Analytics, you don't have to turn it on at all. Go ahead, hit finish. And then I'm going to wait another day. And now I'm going to go ahead and add tag main series, so that way they'll come over to this next message automation and they'll start receiving our main series emails. So hit the little plus icon, come to contacts, select add tag, enter a tag to add main series, save. Alright, so there we go. So after they've gone through this automation, the tag main series will be added to their account, which will start the main series automation, which we set up in the previous video. So hopefully that's all making sense and you're seeing how you can connect different automations together by ending one automation by adding a tag that starts the next automation. And then you essentially create a daisy chain across a whole bunch of different automations, and you just keep the conversation going with your leads and subscribers. In this video, we're going to address having multiple lead magnets, because more than likely you do have more than one lead magnet floating around. So basically the flow is you will duplicate one lead magnet automation, change the content around to match the delivery of the next lead magnet, and you'll still point them to your main series automation afterwards. Or whatever automation flow you want to point someone in. It doesn't necessarily have to be the main series automation. It's just in my particular example, I'm using a main series automation. So basically, we're going to duplicate our automation workflow. So we'll consider this, we have a Facebook ads checklist. Let's do ActiveCampaign checklist. Maybe I'll just call it AC checklist for short. AC checklist, if we could spell. So tag is added, ActiveCampaign checklist, we'll send email 1, wait a day, email 2, wait a day, add tag main series, which will send them, into our main series automation. So looking at this, we have essentially two ways people can enter our email autoresponder tool, whether they request lead magnet Facebook ads checklist or lead magnet ActiveCampaign checklist, or they can request both, that's perfectly fine. Or if they request them at different times, that's fine as well, because they'll ultimately wind up on our main series here, and the main series is only going to be triggered the one time because we only have the one starting trigger, which is when tag is added main series. So let's say that they sign up for our Facebook ads checklist first, and they come through this whole automation, and then they go into our main series and they're on email number 2, and then they see this other ActiveCampaign checklist, so they're like, oh, that looks awesome, let me grab that. So they sign up for that, and then they go through this automation. And when they get to this add tag main series, it won't really matter because they'll already have the tag main series on their account and they'll already be in the main series. So they'll just receive these two emails in addition to what's going on in the main series here because they've already entered the main series a few days ago when they signed up for our Facebook ads checklist. So I hope that that's making some sense right here. Now for practical application, I'll go to ActiveCampaign and we'll go ahead and duplicate our automation. So I can show you that feature. So we got our LM Facebook ads checklist, hit the little drop down, copy, and then I can go ahead and edit this automation. So select edit, and this is the AC checklist or ActiveCampaign checklist. Hit save, tag, LM, AC checklist, save start. Go through here and of course edit all my emails so that way I'm delivering the correct lead magnet. Make sure I change my message name here. Make sure I change my Google Analytics tracking around if I am using it. So AC checklist. Done. Finish. And then I would do the same for email number 2 here. I would of course change all my content so it makes sense for that particular lead magnet and email number 2. Hit next. Go ahead and change my message name. AC. Change Google Analytics if I'm using it. Done. Hit finish. And then I have a wait for 1 day and then we add tag main series. So just like the diagram I've created right here. And of course, you can create as many of these little lead magnet delivery automations that you need. And they can be more complex or more simple. They can be just one email, or you could have them be 50 emails if you want to. So they don't have to be this simple 2 email automation. They can be whatever. The key thing here is that at the end of them, we're adding the tag main series, which is going to trigger our main marketing automation series. And I really just wanted to point out how you can connect these different automations together. So I really hope this is crystal clear to you because it is important to understand these concepts. In this video, we're going to discuss a basic purchase automation, which I've created right here in this green area. So when tag is added, purchase, ActiveCampaign course, this automation is going to begin. And we can assume that this tag gets added from our shopping cart platform. So somebody's going to go check out, enter their credit card information, and hit submit, and then the shopping cart platform is going to notify ActiveCampaign that there's a new customer that purchased this product, and it'll assign this tag to that person's profile, which will then trigger this automation. So let's start from the very top. So somebody joins our email list, tag is added, lead magnet ActiveCampaign checklist, and pretty much the whole point of this lead magnet and this little automation here is to advertise our ActiveCampaign course. So we'll deliver the lead magnet in email 1, and we'll also mention, hey, we also have this awesome ActiveCampaign course, why don't you check it out? So let's say that they do go and check it out and they buy it. So basically, this message results in this tag being added, the purchase ActiveCampaign course tag being added. Let me make a different color. So now that they're in this automation, what we want to do is end other automation, the lead magnet ActiveCampaign checklist automation. So this automation right here, we want to end this automation because email 2 is essentially a sales email that's promoting our ActiveCampaign course, but they've already purchased our ActiveCampaign course, so we don't need to send this email right here. So we need to stop this automation from happening because they've already taken the action we want them to take. Right? That makes sense. We don't need them to see email number 2 here. So we're going to end this automation, and then we're going to send them email number 1. It could be like, hey, welcome to our ActiveCampaign course. Here are your login instructions, yada yada, the normal stuff you send when somebody joins one of your courses. Then we wait a day, and then we send email number 2, which might mention our coaching service or some other complimentary offer or upsell or something like that. And then we're going to wait a day, and then we're going to add tag main series, which again will drag them or bring them back up to our main automation series, where we'll send them great content and build relationship and all that good stuff. So you see that this purchase automation also ends by adding a tag main series, so that way we can get them into our general autoresponder series. Alright, so hopefully that's making some sense here. Let's head over to ActiveCampaign and actually implement it. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new automation. I'm going to start from scratch, create, and when a tag is added, purchase AC course. Hit add start. I'm going to change the name of my automation, purchase AC course. Hit save. First things first, I need to end that lead magnet delivery automation so that way they don't receive email number 2, which is advertising the course that they just purchased. So hit the little plus icon, come to conditions and workflow, and do end other automation. So select this option, hit the drop down, find the automation that you want to end, which is my lead magnet AC checklist automation. Hit save. Alright, so it's going to exit automation, lead magnet AC checklist. Then I'm going to go ahead and send email number 1, create a new email, purchase AC course, email 1, create. Go ahead, select my template, fill out my from information. Go ahead, customize my email so it makes sense. Hit next. Could go ahead and turn on Google Analytics if I'm using Google Analytics. Hit done. Hit finish. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and wait a day. Conditions and workflow, wait for a specified period of time, 1 day. Hit the little plus icon. I'm going to send email number 2 now. Hit create. Select my template, fill out my sender details, go ahead and customize my email so it makes sense, hit next, go ahead and turn on Google Analytics if I'm using it, delete out or rename the campaign so it's the name of my automation, hit done, hit finish, scroll on down, plus icon, conditions and workflow, wait for 1 day, scroll down, plus icon, contacts, add tag, main series, save. And there we go, our purchase automation is done. It looks just like the one I created in this flowchart here. So it starts when tag is added, purchase AC course, and again this is added from our shopping cart platform. And then we're going to immediately end another automation, which is our lead magnet ActiveCampaign checklist automation, because the point of this automation is to sell them on our ActiveCampaign course, but if they purchase the course, we don't need to try and sell them on it again, so we want to end this automation. And then we're going to send them emails 1, email 2, emails 3, 4, 5, whatever makes sense, or whatever is necessary for this automation. And we're going to close it out by adding tag main series, which will start our main autoresponder series for them, so we can continue to build and maintain that relationship. In this video, we're going to talk about organizing your automations. So let's go over to the automation section. So automations right here. And now obviously after a while, you're going to have dozens, if not hundreds of different automations. So you're going to want to keep these things organized. Not only are you going to want to name them appropriately, like don't use weird code names just to fill in the blank at the time. Use names that are descriptive and that you'll be able to find later on. Trust me, I've used weird names before, calling things like chicken and turkey, or weird bird names, and then I can't remember what the heck the automation actually is, so then I gotta click into it, read the first email, see what I'm talking about, and then I can figure out what to actually do with the automation. So I recommend using good descriptive names. Again, I recommend starting with the tag that triggers automation, so like tag, demo, deal, and then the name of the deal, LM for lead magnet, purchase for purchases, etc. Things like that so you can easily identify what the automation is about. And then if you have good naming conventions, you can come over here to search automations and search for whatever automation you're trying to find. So that's one great way to do it. You can also do it by these filters. So we have actions. So you can filter it by different actions. Not super helpful really. Again, most of the actions I use are triggered with a tag or some other action, but it's not very beneficial. Status, of course, active versus inactive. So it could be helpful if you're looking for inactive automation. There you go. Simple. Then label. This is like probably the best way to organize your automations is by the labels. And labels are essentially like folders. So to add a label, you just click on add label next to the automation and create new label. And we could call this one like demo. And we can assign a color to it so it stands out to us. So this would be a demo tag applied to this automation. And then I could add a label demo. So these are both demo automations, and I could come up here and select demo and then identify all my demo automations to keep things organized. And you can also add multiple tags to these automations. So you want to like add the name of a product. For example, maybe this particular automation pertains to a certain product. So I could say like the vault. We'll make it orange for Crazy Marketing. All right. So I have two tags applied to this one automation. So I could switch and then I could see all of my vault automations very easily. So there's a few quick ways to keep your automations organized. Also, real quick, you'd notice some automation stats. So if you hover over it, you'll see we have 0 contacts currently in the automation. We have 0 campaigns in this automation and then 0 goals in this automation. So if your automation has different things going on, you'll see some numbers here of like how active that automation is. You can also hit this drop down arrow to make it active or inactive in this case. You can view the contacts within that particular automation. This could be beneficial. You can share this automation. So if you create one and you want to share it with a client or something to that effect, you could share an automation. You can copy it. So this would create a duplicate copy of the automation within your own ActiveCampaign account. Permissions comes down to the user permission. So if they have access to this automation, they can access it or not. And then delete, of course, is to delete it. And then, of course, edit is to edit the automation. So that's it for this video. Alrighty, so I hope you enjoyed the training. Now I have a quick special offer for you. So if you want a digital copy as well as an audio copy of my book here, as well as 20 pre-written emails to make your email copywriting a piece of cake. And I also have a 7-figure funnel. It's the first funnel that I built that generated over 7 figures of revenue for a small business. And the funnel includes a course on how to set it up and also how to actually sell that funnel to small businesses. So if you're interested in starting a digital marketing agency, that course and that funnel are an ideal option for you. And there's a bunch of other benefits and stuff, bonuses and stuff. Anyway, link in the description down below, or there's going to be a little button probably up here in the video if you're interested in checking it out. Yeah, just check it out if you're interested. And other than that, I hope you have a great rest of the day.